still there?
Yeah, I was wondering what happened.
I shut the computer because I was looking at uh, some grades. So we took a break and then I shut the computer. So then Zoom thought the meeting was over automatically.
Oh, okay.
Then I started converting the recording. So then I just opened it back up again and I just did another recording. So like this class for the archive, it'll be like lecture A and lecture B or something.
Okay.
So that's all that was. And then I could see your text messages in
Oh,
Zoom, and I could also see that it was like trying to convert the recording. So let's go back into chapter 9. Yeah, that was like a 15-minute break. Everybody should be pretty good, right? You're all refreshed, I hope.
yeah.
Okay. Did everybody do the math, or no? We took a break because we're still doing the math, right? Okay. So we're still doing this, then we're gonna do it as a group.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, so if you check step one is literally copy and paste. Because it says, now you can call for data, who will use the population, who equals concern for the
Yeah. Yeah. Step 1 is identical. Step 2 and 3 and 4 aren't, but yeah, you could literally.
We get 18 in step two for the first like example.
Oh, that was
I
our
see
that was
like
that.
18 is the first one. Is that how we got it, or is there?
So there's 18 numbers right here.
Okay, okay,
That's how we got that, and then
cool.
n-1 got us to 17 for the degrees of freedom
No, I got that part. I was just like, where did the 18 come from?
because it's n.
Okay.
How do you get the direction right in building this pig?
Huh?
How do you get the direction right for praying?
Oh, there's apps that have like compasses.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
You can use compass.
Oh, okay. So I feel like I'd be pretty turned around if I had to pray that
Now,
much.
sometimes you know you don't have one on you, but most of the time.
You just grab like a canvas, sure, a compass app. So we're just doing this, and then we're gonna do it as a class once you guys do it. Probably take another 5 or 10 or so before I walk you through it. But it should be as simple as just scrolling up Udaifa and like following the steps and but plug in the new numbers. Remember your N is 20.
Yeah.
On the second set of data.
And then we did, so I knew which one, and 29
19, yep. Mhm.
You find 19 with the goal, with the goal. But the critical values are plus or minus 2.0.
The critical value is not the same.
Right, because it's for that one. What? Because I'm for that one. You look at the critical value and you find 19 versus. Here, so you're gonna go to the Z table or the Z table?
Yeah, I think she's right.
And you're gonna count. You will see it, and you have to go to the 0.5, so I had.
Yep.
So
she's right.
Go to 19, I like it.
Yep.
I don't actually know if that's right.
Yeah, so be 19.
Yeah.
Which would be the 2.0.
Oh, yeah, oh, that one would be vertical value.
Yep.
And how did we get the 62 from the first one in factories?
I think I gave that to you. Let me
It was
look.
the sample mean as the sound mode. Just in like the first.
Mean is 6. Oh, mean is. So that was the sample, and then where do we get the?
I'm just wondering.
I'm trying to find where we find it, where I get the other mean.
What I'm doing here.
Oh, we just took, so we did what we, so. The mean social functioning in the data was 77.43, so that's the population. And then this new sample, if you add all these together and divide by 18, you will get the mean of 62. I can do that in Excel, like that, if I take all these and I go into Excel.
This one will be all of those divided by
18
19.
divided by 20,
Oh, 20. Okay, you take the whole thing, not the.
because that's not degrees of freedom.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm sure that's, I go Excel, it should be right. Blank workbook. Create, move the scores over. And then I can just go equals the mean. Equals the average. Of all of these. Nope, equals the average of. It's just not a good formula. Equals average. You can't even see that because it's not screen sharing. Equals average. average equals average number one, number two. Yeah, because if we're around that 62. That's where I got that from, right? Because you can see that 61.88888. So it's the same thing with the other one. So whatever that mean is, which I could probably look. Equals average. $60.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That saved me a lot of time.
So all I did, Ariel, is I cut and pasted those, then I put the formula equals average, and then I just did the range of those. And Excel did it for me, or I could take and I could sum these divided by 18, I get the same answer, or divided by 20, it'd be the same answer.
Okay, that makes sense. I just didn't want to have to do it, so thank you. Well, that's good.
All right. Stop. Sure. All right, so step 3.
Actually, can we check? I'm moving on.
Sure. So here's step 1. So step 2 is set the criteria for decision.
So if you go to
Under 0.05, you should have 2.093.
how do you value of value to the greater or less than minus 2.0 and right?
Well, we got to do it step by step. So first we did. Let's do it step 1 at a time. So first, this is just gonna be the same, right? That makes sense, okay? So this one's the same. And then let's do, so step 2. Let's talk through each step. And then we'll do step 3, etc. Because then I think it'll make more sense that way. So I'm just moving this down, but I'm gonna go through and modify it, okay? So set the criteria for the decision. So this would be the same, but this would be n equals 20. Because there's 20 numbers, so that means it'd be 20 minus 1, which we find 19. So this would be 19, and this would be 2.093. And then, of course, our degrees, DF is 19. Degrees of freedom. This is 2.093. 0.0. And then this should be 2.093. So that would be step 2. And we could be a little less shouty. No, we. The word we. It was capitalized. No, you're fine.
I was like, no.
No. Jen Psych was today because of the math thing. Is math red or blue?
Oh,
They were very divided on this.
oh.
I couldn't believe how loud they were today.
Your opinion on
Red. No, I have a reason. I learned math about numbers when I was really little.
without numbers?
Yeah.
What do you mean without? What?
Okay. And we're gonna come back to what we're doing, but I'll just tell you. Like giant
Okay,
picture board, and then a bunch of red circles all randomized.
Oh,
Because my mom,
I mean, I learned math with blocks. But then,
like that, like where you can't just count them, they're all red dots, and I'd be like 25. 88, whatever. When I when they're close to 100, I got bored. they were red dots. So my relationship memory of math, it was red. But this is conceptual without numbers because I didn't count. I would just look at them because the brain's like a sponge. Anybody can do that. It's only for babies ages 0 to 2.
Wait, if I were to, if you were to close your eyes and I were to put some.
I could do it when I was little. I don't know if I can do it now. It's foundational.
You could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be like,
Insane, that's crazy.
and she also taught me how to read. So I have no memory of not knowing how to read or math. So homework was never a fight with my parents. I would just do my homework. It's just like whatever. So they'd all be random and I just pick them out. I'd be like, whatever that number is.
My red folder was, so every time the teacher would grade our stuff and give us back our stuff,
It's so divided, math. Yeah.
we would put all the graded homework, the test, the quiz in the red folder, and every Friday, my mom would check it, and I hated Fridays.
And it was red.
Mine was red.
Yeah, math is red for me because these are red dots.
Because I think sit their folder like that in black. I don't know
I've never had
why.
a black folder.
Well, that would not have been allowed in Gen Psych class last hour.
Who has
It was-
folders in college?
It was
Mine-
red or blue. No, it was very like, people were actually kind of upset about it. I was like, you guys need a CTFD.
What's CTFD?
Calm.
Answer your question though, I have it because in my writing class, we get like loose paper, so I have to put it in the folder. Because we get like peer reviews back.
I think you're an exception. Well, I don't think anybody in college. I don't think, not a lot of people have like folders. Like, I think I have like the divider thing. It's like a bunch of folders in one. I forgot what it's called. But it's
Is it a trapper keeper? Like the
a bunch
80s?
of.
Oh,
Like a folio.
the folio.
And I miss folders.
I don't think I've ever had a folio.
They're better.
Should we walk through it?
Yeah,
And
go walk through
folders, I
step
miss
3.
folders.
So everyone understands step 2, right?
Yeah.
Everybody on Zoom. So step 3, all I did was cut and paste. We're gonna walk through it to make sure our numbers are right, okay? So test statistic, our mean is 60. How do we get 60?
I don't know all that, so I don't write one,
Yep, that's right.
which is why I'm glad you did that. So I was wondering where we were going. I was like, oh no.
Or you can do equals average in the range in Excel, use the
Yeah.
Excel formula, either way.
That's the easier way.
So the sample standard deviation, we're gonna subtract the rest of the score and then take the square root of the standard deviation. Do we have the standard deviation? Did I give that to you up here? We don't have the standard deviation, do we? So we can get the standard deviation, we can ask Excel. Am I still screen sharing? No, I'm not. Equals st dot dev stdev. Standard deviation is 20.26, is that right? No, 20.02.
Yeah, up there.
Oh, that's kind of small. Yeah. 20.02. So I'm gonna plug that back in here. So I'm gonna go, so now we have. We're not sharing again, share. 20.02. Is that right? Yep, 20.02. Or 20.03, now 20.0, well, we round 20.03. Yeah, we do that, 20.03. Some rounding, okay, it'll still, the math will still work, I'm just. Resume share, come on. 20.03. Okay. In this sample, the standard deviation is 20.03 and n is equal to 20. Does that make sense so far? So we're going to take the standard error, the standard deviation, divided by the square root of n. So this will be 20.03 divided by the square root of 20. And what number do we have? Make sure you do brackets. Or we can do it like this. We can pull up scientific calculator. So we're gonna say bracket, bracket, and we're gonna say 20.03 bracket, bracket, divided by the square root of 20. 4.47 approximately. Or 4.48 if we round.
You want us to round?
Still work. Should probably not round. Let's do 4.47 right now. I just don't want to, I don't want to keep rounding and rounding and rounding. It probably wouldn't matter because we're talking about a decimal place. So find the t-system substituting the values for the mean. Mean is equal to 60. And this original is the same. And our standard error is 4.47, right? Therefore, 60 minus that divided by 4.47, what number do we get?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Right? Does that make sense where I got that from?
Can I go back to where you were at?
I was right here.
Oh, no, on the worksheet.
Oh, shit. Worksheet, sorry. So 20.03, that was 20. So 3 divided by the square root of 20 is 4.47 or 4.48 if we were rounding.
And now you're doing no fine, right?
And now I'm doing. So I just, all I did, I moved this down here as standard error. And then t obtained value mean minus the sample mean minus the population mean. So 60 minus 77.43 divided by 4.47.
But wasn't our population 61.75?
Population mean was 60. That was the first one.
Okay.
So if we go, I'll show you. If we go back to where I was. This was our mean for the 18 right here, 61.8. That's right. This was our 60 was our mean for our second set of data. So then we do this math and we should get a t obtained value, which we can do together. Because it's this original mean for the social functioning. So we're just doing this, it's the sample mean minus original mean, 'cause it's the same scale. So 60 minus 77.43 divided by 4.47 will be our t obtained value. And then we compare that against the 2.093 to reject or retain the null hypothesis. So if we did that and we went into like a calculator right here, we go 60 minus 77.43 divided by, I'm just putting extra brackets to make sure I do numerator by denominator, 4.47 or 4.48 was negative 3.89. Negative 3.89. Or we could do 3.9 is zero. I mean, we could round, it wouldn't matter. We can round it, that's fine. So what do we do with the hypothesis now? So step 4 is we reject or retain. So remember what our t value was? So we wrote that down here. That was plus or minus 2.093, right?
Above that, or.
It's-
Not above that, but.
Well, it's plus or minus. So this was the. It was negative 2.093 or positive 2.093, and we got a negative 3.90. Therefore, this is in the rejection region. Reject.
Yeah.
Makes sense? Maybe drawing out this made it easier.
There it is.
So step 4 was literally we just make a decision. So all we have to do is we just take this information. And it would actually be the same, roughly. So T is equal to 3.90. Negative 3.90 falls beyond the critical value. And that's still in the lower tail. The decision is to reject the null hypothesis. Bam. Ready for the next thing? For Cohen's D? Gets easier. This is actually that was the hard part of chapter 9.
There's 2 more.
Got, let's see, we got, I think like 2 more examples. So we got this, that example, then we calculate. This example, and then we calculate. And then this, like 3 examples, I think. Yeah, then we do the SPSS, and then I think I just gave you some notes. And yeah. Yeah, we got like a few more examples in SPSS.
Are we getting early today? It looks like we are.
Depends. We gotta at least get through chapter 9 before I could even like excuse us early. And then we need to get through. Is it 5 more sessions, Jackie? It's 5 more times we meet,
Yes.
Including
we're
this
in week
one?
11. We're in week 11. No, 5, not including this.
no, we're in week 9.
5,
Oh,
9.
wow.
So if we did 10, 11, 12, that's 3 of those sessions. Then we do a review 4, and we take the exam. But I have an exam 3 review that goes over these chapters too. And the exam you do at home. So technically, if we got through chapter 9, we would probably be okay. But I have this worksheet and I have well, not the other worksheet, it's a review of chapter 9 and 10, so we could wait on that, or you could just do the first half of the worksheet.
So like, say, we do Wednesday, then the 10th, we're gonna do chapter 10, and the 17th, we're gonna do the worksheet for that.
Yeah, we probably like review 9 and 10, but that would still be like part of 10. And then the 24th, we're not gonna meet. And then we have the one in December, which would be,
24th of this month?
yeah, because that's Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah, our break is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Or Thursday, Friday?
Yeah, thanks for rubbing it in.
It's Wednesday, Friday.
Because the for-profit school I work for, it's Thursday, Friday.
The kids that babysit, they get off the whole week.
So every other school I have Wednesday off, except for the school that's in Tinley Park.
I get Thursday, Friday, all week. You get paid?
I'm in a hat shop now. It's like absurd.
Wait, hold on. We have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, right?
Here, yeah. I'm saying I don't. I have at least one school that, oh, the break's only Thursday, Friday. Now I can probably convince my chief academic officer to let me give them an activity or do something on Zoom if I ask nicely. And I could possibly cancel class, but technically I'm supposed to be there.
Okay, that's what we do. So I'm not gonna be here. Like on a Tuesday, they'll be like, I'm not, like, on that week, they're like, I'm not gonna be here, so you can come, but I won't be here.
I can do that. I've taken time off there before and nothing's happened. But I have to tell them.
Yeah.
Please, half an hour advance,
What?
half an hour advance.
Oh, I would tell you guys. But if I cancel class and they check and I'm not here, which I don't think they check. I think they just say it to freak us out.
Yes.
Then they can dock my pay. They can like take money away from my paycheck if I'm not here.
Small class, nobody's gonna take it.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't- something wrong with it.
Don't be that one person that called the
What was
administration.
the most bizarre, like, student you've ever had?
The guy who wouldn't last semester? Yeah, last semester, he wouldn't land the plane.
What?
He wouldn't land the plane.
Land the plane.
Yeah, like we're talking about something, you get off on a tangent, you fly the plane and then you tie it back to stats. You tie it back to gen psych.
Okay.
Like in our night class, it never happened. Like sometimes we kind of went a little bit off topic, we always came back to psych.
Yeah.
I had somebody in a different class that would just not think before he would speak. And he would just go on and on about whatever he was thinking. It wasn't always related. And I had to tell him several times, land the plane, bring it back, or don't participate. Like
What was the
participate, but it was gen psych. He kept going on these super tangential things. And I'm like, and we're coming back to psych. And we're coming back to psych. No, different class, different section.
That's the most bizarre student. Come on, better story. You like did, come on, work with the weirdos before.
I don't think that,
I feel like for the professors, those are like the most annoying students. Like I have one of those in my other class and the professor's like, okay. Then he just stares at him until he stops talking. He's like, okay, back to this.
What was like the craziest?
the craziest was probably when I was lecturing all women. Not your class, by the way, if you're wondering, okay? And one of the students said something kind of overtly sexual to me in front of all the other females. That was a little weird.
That would have been so awkward.
Yeah.
What's
I
your,
can't
wait,
imagine.
never mind. What
I'm
was
not
your
gonna tell you
response?
just because I don't want to offend
What
anybody,
was your
okay?
response?
I just kind of ignored it and just moved on.
You were
And
probably in shock.
I was kind of like, did you even just say that?
how bad was it still 1 to 10?
10
I
or
can't
11.
even imagine that happened in my class.
Like Imran said, and like there wasn't even another guy in the room. It was just there was only one guy in the class, and he was absent that day. I didn't do anything. I didn't run on my. I was like, okay, whatever. That was just wildly inappropriate, but whatever. I just kept teaching. Like it never
Did your
happened.
face turn red?
And it was what?
Did your face turn red?
I don't think so. It
No,
could
it
have.
probably did.
You wouldn't offend us, it's
I-
part of the story.
What?
You wouldn't offend us, it's part of the story, so you're not saying it to us. What's true? Yeah.
We were talking. It was a lecture on gender and sexuality. No, it was a lecture on senses, and memory. It was on memory, and just absurdly, she made this comment about like licking something out of the blue, like implying oral sex. I was like, are you seriously just saying this to me? She's like, and she was like looking me like right in the eyes the whole time she's saying this thing. And I'm like, okay, moving on. That was probably the most bizarre.
Wow.
Cause like that was not a real appropriate memory to like come up with.
What did she say?
You wanted an A.
I don't know. It was awkward.
She was remembering something that she did?
No, she didn't say like, she just like it seemed pretty clear to me what she was implying. I was like, wow, she just, and I couldn't do anything about it because I was the only guy.
Did anyone else laugh?
Oh, yeah, what did everybody else say?
Like there were some giggles in the class, but like that was about it.
How old is she?
Like 20, 19, 20.
Man, that's hilarious. The fact that you're alone, man. You must have felt sick.
I walked in like. Class is this.
I would probably sit in silence for 10 seconds. I was like, "What's happening?" I would have sat in silence for 10 seconds.
No, you can't really derail me. It's not a thing.
No, I feel like you just nodded and started talking.
I just
again.
kept right on going. Or the person that took the bong hit. That was a little bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
Someone took a bong
Oh,
hit
yeah, on Zoom,
on Zoom.
Are you
And I was the only, we were all young ones, okay? Like I know what that sounds like. So
What did they say it was?
I said, if we could please not take bong hits while I'm lecturing, I really appreciate it. And I just went right back on in the lecture. I never heard it again the rest of the semester.
No, they probably did it, but they were muted.
Have some class, like at least mute yourself.
Or maybe they thought they knew it.
They didn't mute themselves because literally, I was like, can we not take bong hits while I'm lecturing, please? Thank
Is
you.
it true that you can unmute somebody?
I can unmute, yeah.
What?
Can you open the camera too or no?
I think I can request permission. I don't know if I can open the camera, but I can
Wait, you
unmute.
can open someone's mic when they're muted?
Yeah, I can.
Wait, are you
But this
serious?
person didn't mute themselves. Those are probably the most two bizarre things.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
No wonder
I did
why.
not know that you could do that.
Like,
Yeah.
class at that time, and my cousin sneezed, and the teacher said, "Bless you," and I was like, I'm
Yeah.
muted.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like, everything else is muted.
Yeah.
So, everybody was sneezing here.
Does it appear muted for everyone else?
No, you can see if I take the mute off, but
And that should be illegal. That's weird.
no, there is recorded, like, it's just the mic, because I'm the host. I can mute and unmute
What if
people.
someone's have a-
Well, I might have to actually request permission and they say yes or no, but I have like access to like at least request muting. I'd have to
That
look.
makes sense now.
Professor mute one of my classmates because he was like eating.
Oh,
and when
yeah.
I'm texting him, I'm like, "Oh, stop eating, it's so loud.
No,
You're right."
muting is different from unmuting. That.
No, I have to ask. I'm looking because Marina's on here. She's muted. I just have to ask to unmute.
Oh.
But I can mute anybody if like I want to.
Yeah.
But I have to ask and then you have to give me permission to unmute. So yeah, that was probably the most bizarre. Those are the most bizarre. They're not landing the plane.
Tell us another one.
I don't have that. There's not that many bizarre statements.
Been teaching forever.
Teaching that long.
How many years have you teaching?
7.
That's good. Come on, you can get some stories out of that.
No, that was
I feel
probably.
like some of the semesters are just like, they go smooth.
They generally go smoothly.
You also teach summer classes?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you taught this class in summer, which I.
You registered and then you just bounced and then
I'm sorry.
and then there was like, where is she? And I'm like, if I text her, then that's just gonna like, she won't take the class ever if I text.
Say that in class.
Yeah.
She should have texted me. I dropped it because I got offered more work. And I'm like.
I wasn't sure. I was like, I swear Ariel wanted to take the class. Then I saw you this semester and I was like, all right, well, whatever.
Yeah, I got offered more work and I'm like, well, I need to save up so that I can,
Pay tuition.
yep.
Yeah.
So that was the only
Yeah.
reason.
Or when the sarcastic comment when they were like, I have things to do, and they said it in Spanish, I'm like, well, you're done.
Oh, wait.
Same person,
Wait,
same
wait,
girl.
wait.
She said in Spanish, she got impatient because I was coaching,
Uh-huh.
like a research project. And then she said in Spanish, yo tengo cosas a hacer. And I was like, you guys are last now. And then I confronted them. I'm like, don't do that. That's disrespectful. It's like, no, it's not. I'm like,
Pretend like a little-
yeah. And I heard her clear as day.
How did she not know that you knew?
I don't know, but I was, and then she's like, that's not sarcastic. I'm like, I'm not gonna debate that with you. I'm just gonna help you. But she wanted me to like give her like an exemption to like handle late work. And I was like, the next day I was like, no. She's like, why not? I'm like, because I take pride in my work and you're not taking that from me. I said it to her in Spanish and then in English. And I blew her mind in Spanish because she like couldn't even believe I just said it to her. And then I repeated it in English. And she just like stood there for a while. I'm like, no, I take pride in my work. And if I give you a break after you're completely out of line in class, no, I'm not doing
Is
that.
that the most disrespectful student you've ever had?
Yeah, I couldn't even believe it.
Be nice to your professors.
I was like, I have the power of the pen. Like, I'm not effing around. Like, seriously, like, don't do that. And then fight with me about it. Like, you could have just been like, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I probably would have forgiven you and maybe still given you a break. But you were going to be rude, disrespectful, and then think you're getting a break. That's not how life works. Like, the reason that I tend to be lenient in general is because like y'all a very diverse group. Y'all very good about being respectful, staying on task in class, etc. But like when you said that and you're gonna be sarcastic and you think I don't hear it like English in my head when my wife's from Venezuela, really? Who I talk to every single day in Spanish on a regular basis. I'm actually listening to Eavesdropping by that Spanish comedian, and there's subtitles in English. It's hilarious. Esperanto, I think. But it's got the subtitles are like translating really well. So I'm still getting like the punchline because he's speaking kind of fast.
Yeah, so you can kind of translate it like if this one, hi, you can kind of know all that kind of stuff. Like you listen to them say it.
Well, I can hear what he's saying, but like he was explaining stuff like how it's better to like eat cows than fish because fish get suffocated to death. And it was just true if you think about it when they put the nets down and they're just like, I can't breathe anymore. Like it's really not humane. So he was explaining that in Spanish. And because that was really detailed, the subtitles were helpful. Or like when I was in Mexico and I couldn't read the menu because it was food and it was ingredients.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a reading level of like a 10-year-old in Spanish, but I have a speaking level of like the same as English.
Would you
So-
ever want to move to Mexico?
I totally want to move to Mexico because my cousin-in-laws pay $800 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom in a gated community.
Why don't you? Why?
Because I have to teach fully online or work
Yeah.
fully online for that to work.
That
Yeah,
would,
you would
I'm
have
sure that would be worth. If you make a class asynchronous, you would barely have to do anything. If it's asynchronous.
Yeah, I'm barely doing anything with my graduate stats course right now.
So why not move to Mexico?
I about half of my work is like this.
You have to make sure that you have.
You have to make sure that you have enough income
No,
in US dollars to move to
You
Mexico.
just, like set up and get ready, but like,
But if I was fully online, yeah, I could totally live in Mexico.
would you do it? If you had
I
to-
totally would. I felt safer in Mexico than the US. When you go to Ex-Correa, the Disneyland of Mexico, and they're guarding with a machine gun, and there's no mass shootings in Mexico, and there's those in the US every day, makes you think Mexico's a little bit better. When you go to the doctor and it's $5 for fill a prescription, and then you just go to the pharmacy without insurance, you feel like you're getting ripped off in America.
Have you been to Turkey before?
What?
Getting
Turkey.
paid,
No.
getting paid in dollars.
And I checked my bank account in pesos. It's a lot of
Looks
pesos.
better.
It was, I was like, I have that much, but now, remember, you might spend 100 pesos, which is like $5
On a good day.
on a good day. But if like you need a surgery or something with a doctor, it's 500 pesos, which is like 25 or 30 USD.
What?
Yeah.
Surgery.
Like if you have something serious, you go like consult the doctor, it's $25 in US. No, I'm not saying the surgery would be that. I'm just saying like, if you're like have a major like cancer or like some like really big illness, and we're gonna come back to stats in a second, guys, because
No, don't land the plane.
I'm gonna land the plane.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people going to get killed over there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
That's what I meant. Like my aunt, like when the dentist gets this place,
But they don't have malpractice
In
insurance.
Turkey, it's also like cheap as hell.
Oh, I heard it's so bad.
Yeah, I went
Very
there.
bad.
Oh, the inflation, yeah. Oh, we were there over the summer. I think 2 years ago, $1 here was like 7 over there, right? But now $1 here is like 20 plus over there. It's insane.
In Venezuela, it's 3 million% inflation. So like my wife's like, my family needs help. I'm like, okay. She's like $25. I'm like, sure.
3 million?
No, because that's a lot of money. 25
Did you say
25
3 million?
is 3 million% inflation.
Is that literally like over that?
No, it's literally 3 million% inflation in Venezuela right now. You can look it up. So money goes way further. Although we should be worried about BRICS. Brazil, Russia, India, China, like Slovakia, they are trying to create a reserve currency that could basically sucker punch the dollar. They haven't done it yet. And then other economies threaten us, but as a group, they threaten us way more because they're bigger than the USD economy. They're trying to come up with a currency backed by gold.
Oh, yeah, I heard, yeah.
If they successfully do it, bye-bye US dollar. Let's hope not, right?
Don't land the plane, please.
Anyways,
Please don't land.
back to stats. So the T table is critical values of T distribution with various degrees of freedom, which you saw in the chart, right? That makes sense. The T statistic, and I am sharing, okay. The T statistic for, what was that?
I put my computer is dying. That's why I closed it.
Oh, I don't have an extra charger.
No, it's
I have,
24. I'll make it.
Okay.
wait, is it off?
No,
I have like 3 of them now because of not having
The
them.
last time.
Because the last time I have one at home as a backup, I have one that stays at home, and then I have one that I take with me.
Bought
One in
one?
your
You bought
car?
an extra one?
They're $25. I bought like 3. No, I bought 2.
That's like a, I prefer.
No, I bought 3. I bought one extra,
I might get another one.
one to take with me, and then I put one like in my closet. So if I leave one at work, like down in Tinley Park,
Really just running.
I'm not SOL. I can still charge my computer.
Wait, do you have your own personal office back in, New York?
Oh yeah.
Or at the other college? Wait, you teach at Marine Valley or?
No, I teach Fox.
Okay, yeah, do you have your own office there?
Mhm. I'm in an office here too.
Really?
I have an office at every school I work at. The nicest office at Concordia. Because no one ever goes in there. Because you have to share with other adjuncts usually.
How many schools do you teach again? 8 schools?
7, teaching 12 classes. And then I have an office at home, like with a second monitor with like a curved screen.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. My brother has it.
No, it was cheap. It was like 120 instead of like 180. It went down.
That's
I just picked it up like last week and I was like, a curved screen
How
for
many
like
feet?
second
Or sorry, how many?
monitor. It's nice. They weren't really popular. Gonna land the plane though.
How many inches is the monitor?
24.
That's pretty good.
But if I'm like grading something, like grading rubric, like on Excel, and I want to see something, or if I'm,
So you have that where it's like all of this.
yeah, it's like an extra screen, and then I plug the
Two
laptop.
monitors?
I plug the laptop into the monitor.
Oh, okay. My dad has 4 monitors, he's a computer programmer, so his whole desk is just
Oh, Right,
computers.
that makes sense.
Kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, but my other brother's one of those PC nerds, and he has like the cool gaming PCs that you see everything, like you see all the engines, you see all the you see
Got like
everything
that
inside.
clear.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's clear to see, and he has 2 monitors. Too.
Yeah.
He's insane about gaming PCs.
Then I have an ergonomic chair, which I'm swapping out for a gaming chair, so that like my,
Gaming chairs are the-
so that my back like doesn't get killed from like sitting down. What? No, they're not. They're like slightly more expensive than like an ergonomic chair. But you can go all the way back at them. My wife was pointing out to me, she's like, why don't you just swap it out? I'm like, sure, we'll swap it out.
Mine has a thing under where I can extend it and rest my leg on it, so I just put my legs forward and I just.
Yeah.
But like I have my own office in Tinley Park, but like there's somebody behind me. Like, so like you walk in and like there's a computer and a desk and like there's another person that sits over here.
Oh.
She's never there. Oh, well, if you're full-time, which I've been full-time, then you actually get like an office with a door. And it's like yours. But if you're an adjunct, you usually share.
one
Like
room,
space.
or is it like a pod?
Here it's a room. It's a giant room.
Oh, and then a bunch of desks,
And then it kind of looks like this, but there's like 60 computers.
and they have like walls.
There's a spot where there's cubicles, there's a spot where it's open, and there's also really awesome Zoom rooms that you're supposed to only use to meet with students. They're never clear about which school you're supposed to meet with, so I may or may not have taught other classes from the Zoom rooms here at different schools.
And you pick what kind of desk you want?
You just grab whatever's available.
Oh, so nothing is like set in stone, so you just like this.
Yeah, just kind of like this. But like my house in Tinley Park, no one's usually ever in there. But like it's like open, like there's not a door.
Yeah.
And I can see like other professors and stuff that I can like talk to. Like it's not really private, but. So Cohen's D's, we're gonna land the plane, who did I find everyone else? So this statistic for a one sample t-test is the difference between the sample mean and the population mean is stated by the null hypothesis and divided by the estimated standard error. The sample standard deviation is used to determine the population standard deviation in the estimated Cohen's D formula. An estimated Cohen's D is a measure of the effect size in terms of the number of standard deviations that the mean scores shift above or below the population. That's reviewed from our lecture earlier, stated by the null hypothesis. The larger the value of Cohen's D, the larger the effect in the population. The proportion of variance is a measure of effect size in terms of the proportion or percent of variability in a dependent variable that can be explained or accounted for by treatment. And hypothesis testing a treatment is any unique characteristic of a sample or any unique way that a researcher treats a sample. The formula for Cohen's D is the following. D is equal to the mean minus the other mean, like the sample minus the regular one, divided by the standard deviation. So the above example, 62 minus 72.43 divided by 20.94 is negative 0.074. Now calculate Cohen's D for the second set of data that I gave you, n is equal to 20. You should have the numbers to plug in from what we already did. Just take a few minutes to do that, and then we'll walk through it. We got 3 examples and then SPSS. We totally get through chapter 9 today, easy. Mhm. Yeah, it should be a decimal.
Like 0 point.
Mm-hmm, should be. I did, I plugged the numbers in. I'm just waiting to make sure everyone's like ready for me to review it. Don't just wait for me to actually do the calculation. Told you the funny Uber story. I think I did. Yeah.
Which one?
The funny one.
About the soccer player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you weren't here for that.
You missed that
What
one.
happened to Smith?
You missed the whole
And also,
adventure.
you never
Finish the math and then I'll explain it.
You also never said what happened, how your tire popped. You never told me.
They didn't tighten the screws on the brakes on the calipers.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
So that caused the tire to basically explode
Did you
and
go
put a
back to
giant
him?
hole. So mechanic out of his garage.
Yeah, you went back to him though, right?
No, I went to Mavis in Downers Grove so I could get it fixed correctly.
But you never told him what happened? Get your money back?
Oh, that's the phone call tomorrow. I know that's gonna be a three with my dad and I because it's my dad's car on temporary loan. So my dad's pretty angry with him because he put his son at risk for death. And the rental and fixing the car was not cheap. The rental is actually way more than like fixing the tire. And I had to get a new rim. I had to get a rim and brakes and 2 new tires.
Oh my God,
Oh,
that sounds
wow, I
so
did not
expensive.
think it'd be that bad.
You
So
needed brakes too?
because he didn't do it right, so the brakes were all.
How much, is the thing cost?
It was $460 for the tires and the brakes, but the brakes were the brakes were only $60. Because the guy felt he knew what happened, like at Mavis. So he's like, I want to get back to the community.
You know, if you buy your things out of them, more.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then the rental was like nearly $1,000.
Mhm.
Yeah, which is
So is
sucky.
it like $50 a day?
No, it was
Really?
it was between 80 and 90 something a day.
What car did you get?
I had a Honda CRV, but that was the price of a cheap car. Like that was a free upgrade. And then I also had
This was through your insurance or who?
no, I have AAA, so I used the AAA discount. So I had a Honda CRV, and before that it was like a compact car. It was like a like a really subcon. It was like a Chevy Spark. I had a Chevy Spark, and they were both about the same price. And then I had a Honda CRV. Yeah, that happened twice. Once where the repairs were getting done at DuPage, and then after I got back from DuPage, but they didn't do the brakes. The other guy did the brakes and everything else. So, yeah. You guys want to do the math, or did you do the math?
I think I did it.
60 minus 77.43 divided by 20.03. What number do you get?
Did you say 60 divided by?
60 minus 77.43 divided by 20.03. So you just want to make sure that you do the numerator first. So you would take the 60 minus 77.43 divided by 20.03, and you should have negative 0.87. Is that about right? It'd be negative 0.87. Does that make sense? Where I got all the numbers from? You guys ready for ETA squared?
No, well, let's do it anyway.
People are getting out of the other math they don't want to take from this course.
So what?
Whatever math you texted, because Jackie was talking about it last. When you get the grade in the class, assuming you all do well,
Hopefully.
take that to your admissions person. And they tell you have to take the other lower math, be like, well, I took this higher math. And I had this grade, and that'll get you out of it. because it's worked, because it's working with you. You're telling us.
Well, my progress, if you look at my progress on here.
Yeah.
What did I done?
Oh, in your report. Yeah.
It's
Yeah. So
progress.
this math will get you out of whatever math you tested into.
Yeah.
Now, if you need, now you probably need
What
stats
if
for
you
like
take the
nursing.
hours?
I don't know if I can get you out of taking the test, but I can get you out of taking the math.
Yeah,
What's that?
The thing that the math placement test that DuPage wants you to take,
That's one of the reasons I took this course.
Oh,
to
yeah,
skip
I
out
don't
on
have to
that.
take it.
Yeah.
you may not have to take it once you have the grade. That might exempt you from it too.
it might-
No.
Yeah, you take it at the beginning.
Alex test at the beginning.
No, for me, I only had to take it before I would sign up for a math course, and this went under math requirements. The gym that it did.
Yeah. So you took it.
Alex said?
Yeah.
No.
Well, sometimes they don't make you take it depending on what your ACT score was.
What if you can take an ACT?
Then you'd have to take it.
But sometimes students postpone it, and once you have the grade in the course, then you could probably not.
Well, yeah, sometimes the professor will let you in regardless.
I thought you
Which is-
waived it.
I waived it for a few of you,
Yeah, yeah.
like 3 or 4 of you. I waived it.
So you
Oh,
don't
that's
have to
why,
take it at all.
yeah.
So once you get, so it's gonna say progress on your report,
Yeah.
and then as soon as you get the grade, it'll trump it, and then you won't need it because you'll be like, I took this math here at DuPage. I don't need a placement test for math. It'll get,
Now it makes sense why I have to wait.
Yeah.
because I waived it. Yeah. So as long as you pass the course, you won't take the test.
Yeah.
ETA squared. So proportion of variance, variability explained, divided by total variability. ETA squared is a measure of the proportion of variance that can be expressed in a single formula based on the results of a t-test. So ETA squared is n squared is equal to t squared divided by t squared plus degrees of freedom. In this formula, to find the value of the t statistic and the degrees of freedom, in this example, t obtained value is negative 3.126 and degrees of freedom is 17. To find the variance, we square the standard deviation, thus the ETA squared formula. We square the value of t to find the proportion of variance. The proportion of variance for the data in the first example walkthrough is negative 3.216 squared. So we're putting that right here, okay? So like this is this, okay? Divided by t squared plus d. And you should get 0.360. And I think I need to write like, this would actually be divided by, fix that. This should be divided by negative 3.126 squared plus 17. Now your formula is only going to work correctly if you don't want to get an oddball number. If you do all the numerator divided by all the denominator, and then you will get this number. If you like divide it and then add it, so like remember the trick is like lots of brackets or like double brackets, so that you do it right. Does that make sense? So if I take and I go right here, share, and I go negative 3.126 to the second power divided by negative 3.126 to the second power plus 17. Why the hell did that not work? No, that's not right. That's negative 3.126 second power equals divided by negative 3.126 second power plus 17. Do my math wrong? Negative 1.3.
Wait, so I'm under it, it says. Parentheses, negative 3.1 squared plus 12. That's all. Not the divided.
This is plus 17.
plus and two.
Yeah,
So we only do it one time, not double.
no, t squared
Plus
The-
and square, right?
divided by t
Oh,
squared.
yeah. Oh,
So why the hell is it not working?
because the walkthrough is-
What?
because the walkthrough is, and they'll show the parentheses, whether it's equal to where it's a 17.
Yeah, that's right. We should get 0.36.
I think you should have the second negative 3.1.
I thought I did that. So we do negative 3.126 divided by negative 3.126 plus 17. No, doesn't make sense. 3.26 divided by,
Yeah, I don't think you squared it.
oh, you're right, I didn't square it. Yep, you're right. The second power divided by negative 3.126, the second power. No, it's because I did. I think I know that's not working. Negative 3 point. Negative 3.126 to the second power divided by negative 3.126 to the second power plus 17. What the hell? It's not right. What am I doing wrong?
You want to show you how I got it? I got 0.36.
Yeah, I'm not plugging the number in right. It's numerator divided by denominator. What the hell would I not do? It's got to be brackets or something because it's not doing like the order of operations correctly.
The brackets from the beginning to dividing, and then I did the brackets how you did it, like 4,
Oh, okay.
because then after I did the 2 between the second one
Oh,
and then the last.
more brackets. So let's do that. Let's go.
Do you want to see?
Yeah, let me just see that because that's why it's not working. It's the right formula, everybody. It's just, so let's do double brackets and then we do negative 3.126. And then you did a bracket like this, and then you did the second power. And then what else did you do? And then you did divided by. I feel like we have to put the other, shouldn't we close the other bracket? Should.
Yeah, I think you can.
Divided by
Um,
2. No, that's not right. No, divided by, and then we're gonna do how many brackets? You did like 3, you did 4 brackets. 1, no. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we had negative 3.126. And then you did 2 brackets. 1, 2, 6. So we did 2 brackets like that to the second power. Second power. Then you did plus 17. Then probably close your brackets, right? Yeah, and then close your brackets. Like that. Yep, that's what it was. Thank you.
That's a lot of brackets.
What the reason we're doing all the brackets, we want to make sure we take all of the numerator divided by all the
No,
denominator.
it makes sense, it's just,
I went overkill on the brackets, but when I was doing enough brackets, it was giving me a weird number.
it's just a lot when you're looking at it.
So we did 2 brackets. And then we did 4. We put this by itself. We had 2 more brackets to the second power plus 17 and then 2 more brackets. So we made sure to take all of this divided by all of that, which is that.
Okay.
So the next one you want to do on your own.
Can I just take a picture of that?
You can take a picture of that.
I'll like
if you do it again, so we did 2 on the top because of the exponent, and we did like 4 on the bottom because of the addition.
So it would be like the first two, plus the new two.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you change your screen? Because all I can see is the calculator.
Yeah, that's what you should see.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So so this was 1 right here. This was 2 brackets, negative t squared, 1 bracket to the second power, and then the last that closes it because there's a total of 2 on each side. And then divided by, we did 4 brackets.
So high.
Just to tell the calculator, like, I really want you to take all the numerator divided by all the denominator.
Oh, so just that separated more?
Just to separate it more. That's it. I'm just trying to make sure that it's doing the math the right way.
Oh,
Because what it was doing is it was getting first it was getting like 1,
yeah, I saw.
and then it was adding 17 to make it 18. That didn't make any sense. So I was doing overkill on brackets to make sure it's doing one by the other.
So if I do 5.
5 brackets probably the same thing.
Oh, okay, okay, so it's not like I always or something.
No.
Oh,
I would err on the side of more than less brackets. So then we did 4, and then we did 1, we squared it. Is that right? Yeah. No, we did 4 brackets, we put it inside, we put 2 more squared plus 17, and then 2 more to get to 4 to close it out, and then our math was right. So you could do 5 brackets, it would probably be the same. We're just telling the calculator, like, we're like giving the calculator directions, that's it.
yeah.
We're just saying, please take my entire numerator divided by entire denominator. 6 or 0.30 if we rounded, yeah, 0.37. 5 or more, yeah, we can round, that's fine. Stop, share. So this should be 0.37, we round, that's still right. And then if you multiply it by 100, we conclude that 30% of the variability in social functioning, the dependent variable, can explain by the fact that participants were relatives who care for patients with OCD. So then we're going to calculate the ETA squared from the one we just did with the same formula. So we're going to do t squared. So we're literally going to take this formula right here, and then we're going to plug in the information. You should already have your T obtained value from before and your degrees of freedom. Your degrees of freedom, of course, is going to be 19, right? So do like 4 brackets, the 3.90, right? Squared, divided by that plus 19.
Boy.
So we just did this example.
Yeah.
We're going back to the other example. We already have our T obtained value for the second example, and we're plugging it in. So do you guys remember what we had? Or do you want to do it together? What? So do you know, so what we're doing is we're doing this now with the other data.
The one from the example.
The example with n is 20. So all you gotta do is plug in the formula again, and you should get like a similar, but not the same number, but it should be a decimal point. If you're not getting a decimal point, then you probably aren't doing enough brackets. What's our T obtained value? Our T obtained value is negative 3.90. So we're going to take, we'll do And then the brackets. Does that make sense? Do you all see what I did, or are you still? Yeah, the second one squared. Yeah, because degrees of freedom is 20. So if we go back to our worksheet, this would be equals 0.44.
I'm still doing the math.
Oh, that's fine. What do you think, Hector, for just silently crushing it over here with the number of brackets? I knew that's what it was. It just wasn't enough brackets.
I got that. Regular 40.
I got 0.44.
Yep.
4.
Yeah, that's what I have.
If you round it,
What could I see you get?
Did I get negative? Did I
can we
do that?
just round it to
Oh, it
0.44?
is negative. Yep, that's right. It's negative.
Can we just round it to 0.44?
Negative 4.44.
Can we just round it to 0.4?
You could. If you round it down.
It's a negative.
Yeah, but that's because of what side of the tail it's on.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So-
I'm just making sure that I'm writing.
Yeah, it's
correctly.
negative, so it's 44% of the viability if you round down, which you could.
Okay, then I got the right answer.
Yeah,
That was a lot of brackets.
Yeah.
Sorry to get really confused.
it's all right.
As I'm writing it, I'm like, wait a minute, but it
Makes
somehow,
sense.
but-
Does it make sense in the back too? Everybody's on the same page with me?
Yeah.
And Marina, I'm assuming if you're not asking questions, it's making sense to you. But
Yeah, so far so good.
so omega squared W2,
Wait, go back down. Oh, I'm sorry, go back. Yeah.
this was a 3.90 divided by negative 3.90 plus 19. We did 4 brackets. 5 or 6 would probably be okay. 4 seems to do the trick.
Just that like emphasis on, hey, this is. Like, this is what I want.
This is what I want you to do, calculator. It's based on PEMDAS in terms of like the
Yeah.
order of operations, but we don't need to go into that. That's just like the algebraic thing. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, which is like the thing you need to be in the class. It's literally like knowing this. You're just telling the calculator like, please, full numerator divided by full denominator.
Yeah.
So like basically it's doing the math inside the denominator before it's dividing it back
So
into.
before was it doing like the numerator, the denominator, and then taking all of that plus 17?
Mhm. And where it should really be doing everything in the brackets, getting the number and then taking that number and dividing it
Yeah,
in there. That's what the difference is. That's why it was all jacked up on the number.
I,
Are you guys ready for omega squared? Or not? It's fine if you're not ready yet. It's okay. And then omega. Oh, and then SPS. So what we'll do is I'll show you the example. And then we'll do the example. And then we have SPSS, which we could take another break before the SPSS, or we could just knock the worksheet out and potentially go early. Or we could do a short break. I'm thinking let's do omega. And then for the SPSS stuff, we'll take a break before that, and then we'll do that. And that is pretty much chapter 9. Which means unless it takes us forever in SPSS, we'd still get out of here early. And then we only have 3 more chapters left, and we still got like 5 more meetings. SPS is usually pretty quick.
usually, I mean, last time it was pretty quick once we.
I think I just had to find where it was in the book last time because I don't have my book with me. See, I got spoiled, I was on Zoom, so I always have the book like right there, and I have the book at home, I just didn't bring it today. But I have an electronic version that I can pull up, it's no big deal.
I like this one.
Are you explaining that in Spanish?
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
all
know
right,
why I speak Spanish. I like it better.
it's fine.
Yeah, I don't know, I just like it better. I like it better. I understand.
That's perfect. Oh.
Sometimes. Once I have to like say something. Very good at saying this stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm very good at cursing, but you gotta be careful because I was doing that in English, my wife picked it up. I was still working at a corporation, I'm like, this is bullshit. She's like, what is bullshit? I'm like, ah. And now it's her favorite word to say.
Oh my god. Of course it is.
Yeah.
You don't need to join.
I can't swear in Arabic.
Oh, I can curse pretty bad in Spanish if I want to.
It's hard, and even if I do, my parents.
Oh,
Better than that.
oh. Really? Even as an adult? Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow. That's just really interesting.
no, we're not allowed.
If I swear, my mom just gives me a look, but then she'll swear, and so I'll give her that look back, and she's like, don't look at me like that. Like, no, but you told me not to say it, so why are you allowed to say it then?
I said damn once. Oh my god.
I think it was really interesting is how, when I thought you guys were drinking in class, you never really said yes or no. You just told me what the rules were for your religion.
Oh, yeah.
You're
yeah.
very cagey
We're not
about
allowed
it.
to- We're not allowed to swear either.
Oh,
We're not allowed to swear.
I don't think we're allowed to swear either.
Wait, you said we're gonna do Omega right now?
Yeah, when you guys are ready. I just want to make sure you're ready to do that. We'll do that and we'll take a break and we'll do SPSS.
Wait.
Yeah, we're doing it right now. I was just what you said you weren't ready yet. I'm gonna walk through the example and then do it and then we'll do it.
Wait, no. What we're doing, that is not part of Omega.
We just did ETA. We're doing omega squared now. They're very similar formulas. One's a more liberal estimate, one's a more conservative estimate. They're almost identical.
Yeah, we already did it.
You already did it? So you said, I said, are you ready? You're like, not yet. Then you're explaining in Spanish. I was just waiting for you to, I'm gonna walk you through it. That's awesome. If you're understanding the material, great. Did we all do W2? Should we do take a break and do SPSS, or do you want to walk through this? Okay. So subtracting one, so omega squared is also the variability explained by treatment divided by the total variability observed. Which is what we had further up in the notes here. That's that whole, this is the variability explained by treatment divided by total variability. That's what we're talking about. So we go back down here. So W squared, omega squared, W2 is equal to T squared minus 1 divided by T squared plus the degrees of freedom. Subtracting 1 in the numerator reduces the estimate of the effect size. That's why we do it. Therefore, omega squared will always give a smaller, more conservative estimate of effect size, making it less biased than ETA squared. So using the omega squared formula, proportion of variance for the data in the first sample is N is equal to 18. So omega squared W squared is equal to negative 3.126 squared minus 1 divided by lots of brackets, negative 3.126 squared plus 17, because that was the degrees of freedom, N minus 1, and you should get 0.33. So we can conclude, that should be on the right side, because there are no negative numbers here. 33% of the variability in social functioning, the dependent variable can be explained by the fact that participants are relatives for patients with OCD treatment. And you can look at reference table in 9.4 to see the ETA squared value for the large effect size. Does that all make sense? Did I lose you?
No, I don't like this.
You did the other formula. You did Cohen's D instead of
No, I
omega
don't
squared.
like
Yeah.
I wanted your number.
So the next one is do it with N equals 20. So you should have the T obtained value from before, that 3.90 squared minus 1 divided by 3.90 squared plus 19.
I went back.
And then do lots of brackets, and then you'll have your answer.
Go back and so,
So this would be. You want me to set it up for you?
Yes.
3 point, because we rounded, right?
Yeah.
Like that. Plus 19. Do you know where I got those numbers from, Ariel?
Yeah, no, I got it. I'm just making
And,
sure.
and then we just do that, and then we just do that math, and then we do some SPSS stuff.
How many people jump the course now?
What?
How many people jump the course now?
No, they're still in. Andy's still in. I think Janessa dropped.
Yeah, you already told us that before.
she works at Whole Foods.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw her at the Whole Foods in April.
cool.
Who else? Just her?
Well,
Well,
that's
who,
not-
el-
that's
who else
not-
was it? Is Janet still in here? I don't know.
No, in April, not.
I haven't seen Janet in a while. I have to look at my report.
Who's Janet?
She's,
What is her?
she's back there, and then I think Dariana or Daria? Daria is still here. She usually wears a mask.
Oh,
She
her.
can sit there. Yeah. But I think she works a lot or something. Is that right? Oh, I forgot to do -1. That's not right. It would be 3.4. 3.90. The second power -1 divided by -3.90 to the second power plus 19 equals 0.41. That's more conservative. That's right. So 0.415 or 0.42 instead of 0.44. That should be right.
I'm still writing it out because it screwed up my other thing.
Did everybody get that? Does that make sense? Oh, that's fine. You want to see the brackets? You gotta be like, just kind of like aggressive with the brackets. I thought it was awesome when there was that thing last semester in Gen Psych.
What?
Do you remember the conversation about the fear escaleras?
Oh,
That was because they sound the same,
yes.
because the escalator is mechanicals. And escalators. There we go. Look at you. You remember?
I don't remember.
So
I can't remember the color.
so I said, we were talking about abnormal psychology, so we're like, this guy's afraid of escalators, so he avoids escalators at all costs, but the problem is escalator in Spanish sounds like stairway. So stairway is basically this escalera, which sounds like escalator.
Yes.
And escalator in Spanish, is hands with the word mechanic after to show that it's a stairway that moves.
I remember now.
And he was like, being like, there's all these,
Jason, right?
Jason, he's like,
Yeah.
there's all these staircases. You're like, there's none of them. What are you talking? What are you talking about? Cause I said escalators. And you're like, and then your guys are going like back, he's like, there are two, he's like, there are staircases. You're like, there's no thing. And then I was like, well, cause I could hear it. And then we're like, oh. Just bounce it. Yeah. There's a fake cognitive.
That makes.
Yeah.
So you did have to put like mechanical,
The word mechanical, because you put the
like
adjective after it
mechanical
now.
stairway is next escalator. Like
Yeah.
and in French too, it's like,
Yeah,
you've got those weird things and then you have to put a word in front of it to make sure that it's not that, because like, was it like crayon is pencil?
Yeah.
In French, and I was like, well, how do you say like crayon then? And then my professor was like, colored crayon?
yeah,
Like, but then that's a colored pencil, and she's like, I don't know, Crayola,
yeah. Crayola got sued, by the way, for calling themselves crayons when they first came out.
really?
Yeah, they had to change their name. Because you can't, crayon's like is like a noun.
Yeah.
So like, because they're all crayons, so. So everyone have 0.415,
Mhm.
does that make sense? Do you want to take a break and then we'll do SPSS, and that should take us through chapter 9, and then we'll have, what?
Like 5 minute break.
Like a 5-minute break. So 9:02. It's that time, 9, isn't it 6 and 9? See how culturally sensitive I am? I don't even practice your religion, but it's 6 and 9, isn't it?
What?
When you have to pray, it's at 6
No,
and at 9.
You're close.
I'm
but,
close, or is it sunrise, is it sunset?
As time is going by, the prayers are shorter,
Oh, okay,
so I already prayed.
okay,
The last one starts at 7:03. And the
Oh.
one before that started at like 5:50 something.
oh,
No, you typically do like that.
Huh?
Don't you typically do more often, or like,
That's what?
you usually leave more often to pray.
Yeah, but, okay, so there's 5. One in the morning, like early morning, you have to get up and then go back to sleep. So that's that. And then the one I get back from home, the one I do before I leave for school, the one I do, I'm talking about like today.
Yeah,
So everything at home, the first 3, the third one, the fourth one, I prayed it here right before I entered class. I went somewhere else, prayed, came back here, and then the first prayer.
oh, okay, so that takes you to 5.
so you only do 5 more days,
Yeah, 5 every day.
or only today?
No, there's 5 every day.
Which happens to be a Fibonacci number. Just saying,
Is what?
5 is a Fibonacci number. That's the mathematician that figured
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Is everything okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Wait, so you only do it like the morning? like,
I
day?
can't believe you have to get up early and go back to bed. That's painful. We don't have to do that. We have to pray my early, but we don't have to we don't have, it's like 0 to unlimited for prayer. It's not like where we have to pray at certain times.
It changes throughout the year.
I'm not sure.
Some- all the time. Some
I'm a
is,
non-denominational
right.
Christian.
Now,
And I'm a bad one because I
I
believe in
feel that, like,
transubstantiation because it's way
um,
cooler.
the latest is like 7:10 a.m.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it trans or consubstantiation for you?
It's
Is it
every day.
transubstantiation or consubstantiation?
I should know this.
For-
because
for-
I'm not in class.
Consubstantiation is symbolic.
No,
Transubstantiation is actually
it's- it's
changes.
right.
More
Time changes.
symbolic. I'm
Time changes.
non-denominational slash, charismatic.
Wait, so if you're out at night? you don't have to do it.
No, there's no excuse.
Oh,
There's many excuses in the religion, but prayers, very
say
much.
you're at the club.
We're not allowed to be at the club.
Oh, you can, no. excuse me,
Okay,
you
no,
can club?
some Muslims go to the club, of course.
Everybody that I know who's
Yeah.
Muslim
No, no,
drinks.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying that that's the case with all Muslims. I'm just saying I've never met a Muslim that doesn't drink.
It's really.
No, I've heard from many Muslims it's against the rules, but every single Muslim drinks more than me that I've met in my life. That's been my friend.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not saying that's always the case. I'm just saying just people that I met.
No, I believe it. It's really bad, but, no matter where you are, like, if you can't pray like the movements, you have to pray with your eyes. If you're paralyzed, you gotta pray with your eyes. There's no excuse. zero excuse.
So like how you said that you do it like during the day, overnight you don't do it with you?
Like.
No,
one that- the
you
one
just
that-
get up in the morning. It's 5 times from
Like
the
one in the
early.
morning. Yeah, 1 in the morning, you're out, 1 in the morning.
If I'm out at 1 in the morning,
Yeah.
I gotta, if I'm driving, I gotta pull over and pray. If I'm gonna miss it, I have to pray. I have to.
I don't get it, like.
Give me an
it's
example.
the thing like, okay, so say.
You guys realize you're taking your break for this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Don't
okay.
land a plane, do not land a plane.
So.
No, we're gonna do SPS in a second.
So. One night you're sleeping at 1 in the morning, right? You don't wake up at one,
Sure.
at 1 in the morning, right?
No, it's not 1 in the morning, no, it's not that, early.
So like you only pray if you're up,
You have to, the 1 in the morning, you have to wake up.
also you,
Yeah.
it is at 1 in the
You have
morning.
to-
No, it's not
One
at 1 in the morning.
evening.
But
It's
the
like-
one
it's like-
at-
It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. It's like super early, right?
Let's say the one now here. The one now starts at, it starts at 6:10.
Okay.
Okay.
So anywhere from 6:10 to when the sun goes up, that's
Yeah.
you have to pray then.
Oh,
No, like if you miss it, you have to make it up, but you're supposed to pray. when you-
so it's quantitative. It adds more prayers.
Yes. So from 6 to 7, you only just have to pray one time.
Yes,
Okay, so you can pray like before they went to the club, before going to the club. Right?
And then after you're at the club for a few hours, you have to go pray. Just to be clear, that's really interesting.
there's a time for every prayer, regardless of where you are,
Okay,
regardless of where you are.
but that you only do it at that time if you're up.
No, if you pull
Okay.
over.
No,
really
yeah,
fast.
because how I'm saying like if he's at the club, like the club example. But if you did, like the club example, because you're saying that you would have to close your eyes.
Well, let's say I'm in the club and at time prayer come, I have to leave, I have to go pray. I have the means, I can go out, find a place private, pray.
But
If I'm like paralyzed or I'm like
no,
in the back when in time of the prophet, when they were marching to battle, they would pray, everyone would stay quiet and they would pray to themselves. They would never miss prayer.
Wow.
It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
what if you already prayed for the evening?
Then
Why would you still need to do it?
there's 5 prayers in a day.
Yeah, that's it.
There's 5
Once
prayers
you
in a
do
day.
the 5, that's it.
But they're at
Can't
certain
choose,
times.
hey, it's there's
Yeah,
given
the
times
times.
when you pray.
Yeah, and say you pray at the 7 o'clock,
I have to hold that prayer
and then that's it.
for that prayer,
For the night, yes.
for that prayer,
Until the 7.
until the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a routine.
Yeah, that was my question, like, it was like 7 PM and then 7 AM.
Yeah, I mean, now there's the latest one starts at 7, then one before that starts at around like 6. Before that starts at like 4, or early 4. The afternoon one starts at like 12 or like 1. The one before that is at like 7, 8. It's a pain getting up. Oh my God.
If you don't mind me asking, where are you from?
Palestine.
People.
I want to, but my mom's scared because everything happens over there. But lots of our families in Jordan, so we visit there a lot. Yeah. Don't land the plane.
I'm landing the plane.
But the sooner we get this done.
Sooner we can go.
Yeah.
What happened over there? The chair went down? Yeah, mine, the ones over here, they're just pure crap. You'll send another email on that one. So let's grab the book. Let's open up SPSS. Yeah.
This is gonna be fun to find again. Last
Where
time I
the-
had trouble finding it.
The hell is ebook? Okay, there we go. Ebook. So what do we do? Don't worry, I will screen share with you, Marina, as we do it. So we're gonna do exercise 9.6. And then I'm gonna give you some notes, and then we're gonna do exercise 9.9, and that's it. So let's do exercise 9.6. So we go to electronic textbook. What the hell is it? Let's go 345. So we want 9.6, okay.
You want it to open SPSS, right?
Open up SPSS, yep. Is this it? 9.6, the one sample t-test.
Hold on, I'm still getting there. I'm trying to find it. This happened last time. I like lost it in the.
So we're going here in the book. Now, if you go into WebAssign, you should have the book. So we're doing 9.6 and 9.9. All right, so 9.6. We're going to enter, including the variable tab and enter health in the name column. And we're going to enter whole numbers. So let's open up SPSS. SPSS. Let's open. Share. So it opens. And here we go. Share. See, it does not like me doing that.
Screen sharing.
SPSS it's got like an attitude problem about it. See? I'll make it work. I'm very good at cage fighting. So variable view. No, I'm in a cage fight right now with Brightspace. It wants to be Blackboard. It has dreams one day of being Blackboard, but it's the worst learning management system ever. Well, it's not as bad as Moodle. Brightspace wants to be Blackboard. It's not.
MySpace?
It's a learning management system.
MySpace is that?
Brightspace, like bright, like.
Gone, it's dead.
Yeah.
Died a long time ago.
So we're gonna type health right here
For the name or for?
for the variable view, and then we're just gonna click and we're gonna do 0 decimals. So I told somebody to copy my stats course in Brightspace. She copied my boss's course, which wasn't even stats. Then she went and deleted that. I told her what the course number was, but she didn't get it right. Then she copied poorly my course, created all these extra drop boxes. So then students got all confused. So then they called my boss, and my boss was like, why don't you talk to your professor? That pissed them off. So then they went to the dean, and the dean called my boss. And then I got a bunch of texts like a couple hours ago. I was like, need to fix this shit. That's literally what I said to him.
What was the worst case of plagiarism you've ever had?
A couple, same exact paragraphs. The only word that was changed was two. Like one of them wrote or, one of them wrote two. Everything else was like red, plagiarism.
Nice.
So I had to call them both out. She's like, well, let my boyfriend borrow my computer and look at my assignment. Like, don't ever do that ever.
You know she's
And
lying,
then
right?
what?
You know she's lying.
Yeah. She's like crying. And then like I had to confront the boyfriend. I'm like, guys, I told you at the beginning of the semester we have software that I would catch you. Don't
What do you
plagiarize.
think?
He's like, I'm sorry, I screwed up. He did own it. Yeah, it doesn't matter if we read it. Our software will catch you.
Oh, so I thought you
Thanks
just
for
like
warning.
caught it.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
I literally have said, software will catch you. Please don't plagiarize. That irritates me. I did have one person tell me that I was pulling the race card. I'm like, I can't see what you look like. You're online. I'm just pissed because you plagiarized. Okay. Don't make it a race thing. It's not always race. Okay. I get mad wherever you're from if you plagiarize. I think that's messed up. Like, do your own work. Like, if you want to irritate me, copy and paste. Like, not like with what we're doing with the stats, but I mean, like, if you're writing an essay and then I'm like, I've read this.
Can't you be like seriously penalized for that?
You get kicked out of school.
Oh, yeah, yeah, like that's.
So
that's
then,
like the
so
thing
when she
that-
got, she did the race card, I like reported her. She got like all these sanctions. I'm like, I could have just given you a 0, but you wanted to make it a race thing. So
My English teacher used to sign like a friend.
Yeah.
Before we started, and they saying that we know the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Teacher had that thing on Blackboard where when you turn it in, it tells you like how plagiarized it looks.
No.
We haven't
Oh,
got to
CD.
do that,
Um,
but then we had this thing where like we were doing second drafts and we're like, just curious, want to see what it said about plagiarism from your first draft or your second draft. No, it's.
You said she tried to-
Because it's like the same draft, it's just it's the same paper.
You said she tried to pull the race car.
Yeah.
I can't see your picture is this big.
But
I don't know if you're black, white, other, I don't care.
did you
I
pull
just
this?
don't want,
Did you pull this?
no.
It's a card that says race on.
No, she was just like, is it a race thing? I'm like, it has nothing to do. First of all, A, I couldn't see you, so it couldn't be racist in the first place. Like, your picture's too tiny. It's like a dime, okay? Like, there's no way.
But I have another-
Secondly, you be from anywhere in the world, you're gonna piss me off if you plagiarize. It has nothing to do. Black, white, Asian, Muslim, I don't care. Like, just don't plagiarize. But that's not a race thing. She wanted a free pass.
What's the biggest red flag you've seen?
Red flag?
Yeah.
Or just biggest red flag?
You don't know what
period?
a red flag means?
No, I know red flag means like stop, like proceed with
Yeah.
caution. I got you.
No, like,
It's like you saw them do that thing and you're like,
No.
bad.
A red flag, but like, the ultimate red flag is, this is a red flag.
No.
no, like,
So we're gonna enter these, but I believe they're already in,
Dad jokes are great.
they're already in here. We go into the chapter 9 review. I think we already have the values at the top. I think these are the same numbers. 15, what's 85? I'm pretty, yeah, those are the same numbers. So if you take these out of the worksheet, you can do Control C, stop, share. The best one was the person that had 12 grandmas die in a year. She's gonna get her homework done. 12 grandmas died. One every month for a year. And we are like, no. What type of family do you have?
Where did you put the
well,
numbers? Oh, yeah.
Oh, you just, wait, explain.
you know, some people do have like,
Not 12.
what if the.
You taking an acai berry? Like, what's going on? Like, there's no.
Yes, sir.
Oh, like in Utah? They're girlfriends, by the way. That's not an actual wives because, no, they call them wives, but they get married spiritually. Because if you actually marry like through the state, more than one woman or guy or whatever, they will arrest you for polygamy.
Now, there's loophole.
If they do a religious ceremony, so basically the other wives are girlfriends that are religiously married, then that's a loophole, yeah.
I tried doing that and it just put them all this way.
Okay, I thought you were saying like, you married like wives. I was like, what?
No,
No, how did you get the numbers?
I just cut and pasted them from Word.
That's what I did, but then it put them this way instead of this.
Well,
way.
I can read them off to you,
How
15.
do you fix the decimal thing? 'Cause mine's at.
So you go to variable view. So all we're doing, we're typing health
Hold on.
and you're putting in 0 decimals. And then I can tell you the numbers and you can put them in by hand if you want.
I might have messed it up. Hold on, just.
Short amount of numbers.
It's only, there's 18 numbers. I mean, we enter them in. It's not a big deal.
There's a chance I messed
Keep
it up.
going. Can you go back to?
Should be 15 variable.
Um,
Health numeric 0.
yeah, I'm good. Wait, it's all the way only up to 65, right?
No, it's all of these. Here,
Yeah.
I'll make that big.
Can you go down a bit, please?
Nope. Like that. You should be able to see them all if I
Beautiful.
scroll up, right? There you go. That's. Did I do that wrong? Why are there 20 of them? I think I grabbed the wrong ones. Yeah, those are the wrong numbers. Those are wrong numbers.
Oh, no.
It's these numbers right here. It's fine. I'll let you see them. Let me go back
Wait,
in.
can we highlight everything in this row and like backspace to like delete the whole, like all the numbers in the row?
I think you can just cut and paste them over themselves. Control C,
I didn't like it, but I did.
Ex-
So wait, are we doing the first example then?
it's these numbers.
Okay. So
1860, 48 is from the first example.
so it's from the example, not the ones that
We did, yeah. And there shouldn't be any value here at all.
Is there a way to?
It should be 1 through 18.
Is there a way to like highlight all the backspace, all the numbers?
You can just kind of paste them over themselves and then just delete the last two values.
Okay, I
You
think
can do that too. You can just delete them.
How do I do that?
I would just click here and just type over it. 18. You should have 18, 60, 48, 92, 50.
But anyway, so these are the correct numbers, right?
Those are the correct numbers, yeah.
Okay, I accidentally put him in the variable view instead of the data view, and I was like,
That's why they reject.
oh,
So you should have that. You got 0. And now our next thing we're doing is
How many Muslim friends do you have, by the way?
3. I don't know. Like, not a lot. But I met a lot of Muslim folks in undergrad, like a lot, like 20 or 30. They all drink
Man,
like
it makes
fish.
me sad.
I'm not saying that is the case. There's no way I could scientifically say that's the case at all. But everybody that I met anecdotally drank that was Muslim. No, I don't want it. Don't want it.
Oh, you can never go to the gym.
Okay, listen. Everybody has free will, okay? We have the ability to do what we want, but we are not allowed to attend gatherings like that. We're not allowed. Yeah. No drinking, no smoking. no-
Analyze, compare means one sample t-test.
No, it's the entire life, yeah.
So your parents are very.
We've never been to a job like that.
Well, how are your parties? Like family parties?
No, we're good. Okay, this is when we can't have fun. We have fun, but like, we don't do alcohol. We don't do cigarettes. We don't do any of that stuff. Our parties, of course, it's segregated between, the women are with the women, the men are with the men. So it's, yeah. When it comes to the party, it's more their culture. Each culture their own. But there's ways to be conducted when there's rules in the religion where everything has to be conducted.
Does everyone have this so far? Now we're gonna move health over here. No, hang on.
we can't see your,
No, no.
little pop-up screen.
The test value is 77.43. Because that is our population mean. That's why you're putting that in there. That's where that's being pulled from. And then you're gonna click OK.
We don't see.
Yeah, we don't see the little pop-up.
Look at the projector. We don't see.
I know. I need to do new score, new
There you go.
share. Like that.
There we go.
And then you save it, and and we'll do 9.9.
But how do we actually see a little file, right?
This is 9.6.
9.6, yep.
Where do we access this thing right here?
So you go into analyze.
Analyze, compare means, one sample t-test, move health over,
Compare means.
one sample t-test,
Yeah.
But you didn't go into options.
analyze, compare means, one sample t-test, like that. Like that, you get that. And then this was over here, so you're gonna move health like that.
I'm seeing something. I'm seeing this.
That is absolutely correct. Move health over just the arrow. Test value is 77.43 in there. That is from our original. 77.43. That's from our worksheet.
And then,
Click OK. There you go.
Oh, that's way easier than doing that by hand.
Yeah.
But-
But we had to learn it somehow.
Yeah.
So my-
And
On our final exam, are we gonna have to do any SPSS?
and that is,
we
yep.
don't have, like, a final.
No, you're welcome. My grad students do.
Wait, we have final, right?
You have exam 1, 2, and 3.
And then one more exam.
No. You're welcome.
Wow.
I thought we had the final exam.
No.
Because everything builds on top of each other, so we kind of.
You kind of got to know it anyway. So it's 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12.
Give us all the help, Troy. Please.
No. I did the math.
This is the second subject of the semester that doesn't have a final exam. Like, phlebotomy also doesn't have a final exam.
I didn't have any midterms either.
I didn't have midterms either, it was weird. But then again, my one class was a 12 week, so we just had like our midterms, which is the unit 2 exam.
So now,
Papers.
We have.
What's his name? Danny Show, something like that.
so now we're gonna do
Everyone recommends
Oh,
kinetics.
you
Every-
did amazing.
Yeah, I heard he's so good.
Groups.
His ethics, or you take his ethics course?
I took ethics, I took philosophy.
I should have taken it. I shouldn't even taken philosophy to begin with.
Who did you take, Chris?
okay. So
Oh, he's so cool.
And every single person recommended philosophy. Should have registered so early.
all right. So now we're gonna do more SPSS.
His class was still. Same manner as the data.
Yep, different data.
How old is that?
How old is he?
I think.
I don't know.
Does he teach any elective courses?
He might. He teaches others today. I'm trying to open a new one in the phone.
Share. File. Cancel. File. New data.
Thank you.
Now you have a brand new one. You're gonna click on variable view. And then we're gonna go, and this is 9.9, and this is it. Click on variable, and we're gonna enter groups in the name column. Groups. We're gonna reduce our decimals to 0. And then we're gonna enter. And then second row, we're gonna type intake, not here. This is gonna be intake.
When people catalog in like inventory, do they use SPSS?
Where'd you
They
put
should.
intake at?
I'm gonna fix, I'm,
We, all
this
we
is-
see is the older screen.
we're gonna fix that right now. Share. Fine, we'll do this, because it wants to be difficult. Is that working?
I think,
Variable view,
yeah,
data view, variable view,
okay.
name, groups,
Mhm.
intake.
And then the second one is intake. Okay, I was wondering. Intake that.
And then we're gonna go like this. So we have 0 decimals in both columns.
Okay.
Then. So then in the small. So in the values column, you see if there, see how there's those three those three? See how there's those 3,
Yeah.
so click on the 3 dots. And then we're gonna go like this, we're gonna hit the plus button. And we're gonna go 1. And our label is going to be slowly, for the groups that are eating slowly. Okay, then we're gonna say. Then we're gonna add 2, and we're gonna say fast. To the groups that ate fast and slow. Then we're gonna say, okay. Then we're gonna go into the data view. Right here. And then we're gonna enter 1 in the first 6 cells and 2 in the next 6 cells. So we're gonna do 1. Then we're gonna go 2.
And then you do that.
And then for the group eating slowly, we're gonna enter the numbers based on the chart, which is 700, 450, 850, 850, 600, 450, 450, and 500. And then these are 450, 800, 750, 700, 550, 650. Do y'all know where I got those numbers from?
Yeah. You got them from the example, right?
Yep. On the slides from earlier about the groups eating slowly and fast. This is the slow group, so it should be 1. She has 700, 450, 850, 600, 450, and 500. The what? Here? The values right here. 1 and 2. Slowly and fast. So, or I mean, you could put eating slowly, but we know. You could write group eating slowly, group eating fast if you wanted. It would still work.
And then after that,
That is just those 2 groups, slowly and fast. The data view looks like this. And these are our numbers. So as you can see, the first 6 are slow and the last 6 are fast. And those are the number of calories that they consumed. I don't know if I can zoom in. I don't know. I don't know if Zoom will let me do that. But what I can do, because it's still America, so I can bring this over to you and I can still screen share. That's what that should look like.
450, 600, 450, 500. Yes. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so now we are going to do our go to the menu bar, you click analyze, compare means, and you want an independent sample t-test like that. You want those options. I'll leave that up there before I click the next thing. And then when you get to the pop-up box, maybe just tell me. Okay. All right, so then you get this. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna use the arrows and you're gonna move the intake into the test variables and the groups into the grouping variable. Okay. Then we're going to click on define groups. Okay. To bring up a new that, and we're going to enter 1 in group 1, enter 2 in group 2, which we did. And then click continue. And now it has the groups. Okay. And then we're going to say, okay. And then it does your two-tailed. test for you. Yeah. And then you get your output, and that's 9.9. Then you just save your files as .sav for your data and a .spv for your output. At a bare minimum, you should be submitting the SPV, but I really want you to submit an SAV and SPV so I can see data piece and I can see that you did the steps correct. So this will save as, your output will save like this: file, save as, and then it'll automatically be a dot, the extension will be .spv. And then for your other one, if we go back into like your data, like right here, this will save as, this will be a .sav file. That's just how SPSS saves them. .spv is output, .sav is your data. So you should really have 2 data files and 2 output files, or at least 2 data files and 1 output file if you did it all in the same one. And then what I'm looking for, I'm going in, I'm checking your math and everything on the worksheets, and then I'm looking to see if you did the right test. So that was the 1 sample test, and then the 2-tailed test is what we just did. And that takes us through chapter 9. I know it's not as early as maybe we thought. We're flying the plane a little bit too much, but that's okay, right? We're still done early. And then we can do chapter 10 next time, all of the 10 worksheet, and then the 9 and 10 review worksheet, and then we'll still have 4, we have 5 more sessions, Jackie? So we'll be on 10, we'll have 4 more sessions to do 2 more chapters, which gives us time for review and for you guys to review. And maybe even we'll take chapter 12 on the last day, maybe.
Have you ever ended a course, like a course early, because you got the content fast?
No, what I'll do, I'll just teach you guys 15 and 17 then. That'll be extra credit.
But
I've never done that. Yeah, it's my academic freedom. I just got to cover certain learning objectives.
The Word file,
Word file, yep,
data, both the data entries, and then both of the
output files.
output files.
Yep,
That's a lot. It's
it should allow you to do that.
yeah. Sure.
How do you guys feel on chapter 9?
Better.
So I'm going to assign, so it's going to be pre-test and post-test. For chapter 9, you probably should have already done the pre-test. I think I probably already assigned that. And web assign. And that's all. We're just gonna do pre-test, post-test, and web assign, and the worksheets, so like 4 things by next class period, and pre-test chapter 10. So that you have like a framework for chapter 10. Any questions, Marina? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. No questions. Thank you.
Yeah, Hector, what do you got?
So website 9.
Web assign 9 should be open now. So pre-test, post-test 9, web assign 9, worksheet 9 that we just did in class, and pre-test chapter 10. Remember, I'm giving you all the points just for taking it. But if I see you all miss something, I might teach to it more on pre-test 10. And we can call it a day.
I'm just looking at everything now, so I don't forget it when I get home.
No, that's fine. And we're done early, so. Just take abnormal psych. You might enjoy it.
Densa?
Abnormal
Maybe.
in the,
If it.
if it
feels
fits. Yeah, I gotcha.
If it fills the class I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you need a certain amount of like social sciences, but whatever's in your best interest.
Yeah.
If I see you, cool. If I don't, then I get it. Marina, if you don't have questions, I'm gonna end the Zoom meeting. Do you have anything for me?
No questions here. Thank you. I'll
Welcome.
see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.